Good day, everyone! I'm Robbie Del Monte,
I'm Simon Joseph Pariscal.
I'm Nathaniel A. Navarra.
and we will be presenting the community perception toward senior high school education standard of SNDPA-LPH.
An analysis for senior high school improvement.
A quantitative research. For Chapter 1, the problems in its background.
School is a social organization that functions properly on the effective interrelationship within it and with its associate communities. An issue in a school affects the community, likewise what happens in the community affects the school. This implies that the community builds its schools likewise to the schools, by Sidhu 2017. School and community are interplayed with each other, where what happens in school affects the community, likewise what happens in the community affects the school. Every community has perspective standards to the standard of school, especially when it comes to the quality of education that the school provides for its students. The perception of the community is important for the improvement of the school.
Problem observed by the researchers: lack of facilities and equipment in the school, attitude and behaviors of the students, lack of funds for the school services.
Reasons why the researchers conduct the study. The researchers specifically chose this topic because it interests the researchers. Additionally, the researchers want to contribute to the school's improvement by gaining the perception of the community towards the senior high school education standards of SNDPA-LPH.
Statement of the problem. General problem. The study aims to determine the community perception of the senior high school education standards of Santo Niño de Praga Academy of La Paz Homes 2 Incorporated. Specific problem. The study aims to determine the community's perception of the senior high school standards of Santo Niño de Praga Academy of La Paz Homes 2 Incorporated. Specifically aims to answer the following questions. Number 1. What is demographic profile of the respondents in terms of age, gender, and barangay? Number 2. What is perception of the community to the senior high school education standard of the respondents are grouped according to demographic profile? Number 3. What is perception of the community to the senior high school education standard of SNDPA group according to quality of education, academic facilities, and values? And number 4. What is the overall perception of the community towards the senior high school education standards of SNDPA-LPH?
The conceptual framework include independent variable, the parents or guardian living within the community, dependent variable, which is community perception, mediator are the quality of education, academic facilities, and values, moderator are the age, gender, and barangay.
Significance of the study. This study will benefit the following. Community. The researchers strongly believe that this study will help the communities of Carlaville Park Homes, La Paz Homes, Beverly Homes, Green Forbes City, Barangay Hugo Perez, and Barangay Cabezas to be more aware and informed about the senior high school standards of SNDPA-LPH. This will help the communities to give their perspectives with regards to the senior high school standards of the school to improve the education that they are providing for its students. Future researchers. The researchers strongly believe that this study will give significant help to future researchers if ever they conduct the same study in the future. Furthermore, this research work might serve as a reference in their future study. Selected parents. The researchers strongly believe that this study helps the selected parents in different communities in their level of awareness of the senior high school standards of SNDPA-LPH. Moreover, the perception of the selected parents will help the school's improvement. School administration. The researchers strongly believe that this study will help the school administration to be more informed about the perception of the selected parents to improve the senior high school standards of the school. Santo Niño de Praga Academy of La Paz Homes 2 Incorporated, SNDPA-LPH, The researchers strongly believe that this study will help SNDPA-LPH, particularly the senior high school department, to improve their standards and ways of teaching to the students with the help of the perspective that will be given by the selected parents in different communities. Students, the researchers strongly believe that this study will help the students to improve their knowledge, skills, and capability based on the standard of SNDPA-LPH Senior High School. This research also serves as a way of assisting them to improve in different aspects of learning. Teachers, the researchers strongly believe that this study of perception of community helps the teachers to be more positive and can shape the expectation of the student unto them. It benefits the teachers to expose their students to lessons on positive value which enhance the students' knowledge, skills, and capability to learn.
The scope and limitation. This research was focused on the community perception towards senior high school education standard of SNDPA-LPH. This research is conducted in different communities, namely Carlaville Park Homes, La Paz Homes, Beverly Homes, Greenfarb City, Barangay Hugo Perez, and Barangay Cabezas, located in Trece Martires City, Cavite. This study is conducted within the academic year 2021 to 2022.
The definition of terms. Community. The word refers to a group of people living in Carlaville Park Homes, La Paz Homes, Beverly Homes, Greenfarb City, Barangay Cabezas, and Barangay Hugo Perez as the respondent in this study. Perception. The terms refers the opinion of the different communities on the education standard of senior high school of the SNDPA-LPH. Senior high school. Senior high school is a 2 years of specialized upper secondary education. Students may choose a specialization based on aptitude, interest, and school capacity. The choice of career track will define the contents of the subject students will take in grade 11 and 12. Each student in senior high school can choose among 3 tracks: academic, technical, vocational, livelihood, and sport and arts. The academic track includes 4 strands: accountancy, business management or ABM, humanities, education, social sciences or HES, science, technology, engineering, mathematics or STEM, and general academic strand or GAS. Education standards, a rule or principle that is used as a basis for judgment, something that you use to judge the quality of something else. Quality of education. This refers to the outcomes that encompass knowledge, skills, and attitude that helps the learners acquire based in literacy and numeracy. Enjoy learning without fear and feel valued and included, irrespective of where they comes from. Academic facilities. This word refers to the health physical facilities in SNDPA-LPH such as classroom, libraries, laboratories, and other essential resources needed for teaching and learning. Values. It pertains to the behavior and attitude of the senior high school student in SNDPA-LPH.
For Chapter 2, Review of Related Literature.
Review of related literature. This chapter presents information and ideas gathered from foreign and local books, journals, other periodicals, online sources, and unpublished materials that provide necessary background knowledge about the focus of the study. Conceptual literature. Working knowledge of the perception of the community to the senior high school standards requires a basic understanding of some fundamental concepts. This chapter focuses on the topics about the senior high school standards, namely A. Challenges and issues of senior high school, B. Senior high school of SNDPA history, C. Senior high school strand of SNDPA, D. Facilities of senior high school, E. Student of senior high school, and F. Implementation of teaching in SNDPA-LPH.
Research literature. Related studies conducted are presented in this chapter to enrich information and provide highlight regarding the study. The review includes local and foreign studies which are presented chronologically. Problems encountered in K-12 program by Bala C. 2017. Perspective towards K-12 program by Locarte E. 2011. Challenges on the implementation of K-12 program in the Philippines by Edneb R. and others 2018. Perspectives on the implementation of the K-12 program in the Philippines by Dison R. and others 2019. Effective implementation of the senior high school curriculum, a descriptive analysis by Kogal M. and the others 2019.
Synthesis. In the conceptual literature, some information about the senior high school curriculum standard was gathered. It contains the challenges and issues in the implementation of the senior high school, history of the senior high school of SNDPA, senior high school strand of SNDPA, facilities of senior high school in SNDPA, student of the senior high school, and the implementation of teaching. The information was gathered from different reliable sources such as articles, journals, and research works. In the research literature, the insights of some authors and researchers were discussed. Most of the information came from the research studies of some researchers where they discussed the positive and negative perspective of the implementation of the senior high school curriculum. The researchers searched for the other studies that are related to the topic through online sources to gather further information. This helped the present study to compare, relate, and determine the community perception toward senior high school education standard of SNDPA-LPH.
Chapter 3. Methodology. This chapter presents the research methodology that will be used in this study. It contains the following sections: A. Research design. B. Population and sampling. C. Respondents of the study. D. Research instrument. E. Validation of the instrument. F. Data gathering procedure. And G. Statistical treatment of the study.
Research design. Research method. In this study, the method that will be employed is the descriptive research method. This is useful to collect information on the perception of the community to the senior high school standard of the Santo Niño de Praga Academy of La Paz Homes 2 Incorporated. In employing this method, the descriptive analysis will be used wherein the data that will be gathered through self-made questionnaire survey will be given with a conclusion based on what the data will be shown. The research believes that this method is the most appropriate to be used since the study aims to determine the community, the senior high school standard of Santo Niño de Praga Academy of La Paz Homes 2 Incorporated.
Population and sampling. The respondents of this study were the selected parents or guardians living within the community of Carlaville Park Homes, La Paz Homes, Beverly Homes, Greenforb City, Barangay Hugo Perez, and Barangay Cabezas. The actual respondent of the study were 180 respondents. A simple random sampling was used in this study. Simple random sampling is a type of probability sampling in which the researcher randomly selects a subset of participants from a perception.
Research instrument. The researchers used printed survey questionnaires as a guide for data collection. A questionnaire is a research instrument that contains questions for purpose gathering the data from the respondents. In addition, it can be effective by measuring the perception of each parent or guardian according to the question that is given to them, which consists of the socio-demographic characteristics of the respondents and the perception of the respondents to the senior high school standard of Santo Niño de Praga Academy of La Paz Homes 2 Incorporated. Printed survey questionnaire is be used for a fast and accessible response from the respondents. They can easily answer the question right away.
Validation of the instruments. The instruments that is used are subject to validation by the expert along the line of this study as recommended by the school. The said instruments will be validated by the school physician, Dr. Maria Isabel Angelica G. Valles, Engineer Corabel U. Lungalong, Ms. Mara Eliza U. Galicia, and by the school administrator, Dr. Wilma Olip Galicia. All correction, suggestion, and derivation were incorporated. This will be used as the basis for the researchers for improving the instrument for the final version of the questionnaires.
Data gathering procedure. To obtain the necessary information that was required for this study, several steps were taken into consideration. First, the researchers examined the population of the 6 communities. Second, written communication has been sent to the principal's office of the school asking permission to distribute the self-made questionnaire prepared by the researcher to the parents, guardians who reside in the community, which were the respondents in this study. Third, after gaining the approval of the school principal, the researcher gives a letter to the respondents asking permission to answer the survey questionnaire in this study. Fourth, the researcher distributed the questionnaire from house to house and used a printed survey questionnaire after gaining the approval of the school principal. And lastly, the researcher retrieved the entire questionnaire after the respondents finished answering the questions listed.
Statistical treatment. The following statistical tools and procedure has been used to analyze and interpret the data obtained. Frequency count. This statistical tool used in tallying response of the respondents to the different items related to the demographic profile of the respondents such as age, gender, and community. The set of data provided the answer for the problem number 1. Percentage. This was used to define the maximum and the minimum frequency and percentage of each item in question, particularly the demographic profile. This will answer the problem number 1. Weighted mean. This was used to identify the average score of the data that answered problem number 2 and 3. Scale. This tool is used to determine the frequency or determinants on the perception of the community towards the senior high school education standard of SNDPA-LPH. 4. Strongly agree. 3. Agree. 2. Disagree. And 1. Strongly disagree. Likert scale. To answer the level of community perception towards senior high school education standard of SNDPA-LPH, this will answer the problem 2 and 3. The following Likert scale was followed: 3.26 to 4, excellent; 2.51 to 3.25, very satisfactory; 1.76 to 2.50, satisfactory; 1 to 1.75, needs improvement.
Chapter 4: Presentation, Interpretation, and Analysis of Data. This chapter presents the analysis and interpretation of the data gathered from the respondents. They are presented in tables to give a clear picture of the data gathered through the survey questionnaires. The order of presentation of the data follows the sequence of the problems of the study.
Chapter 5. Summary, Conclusion, and Recommendation. Chapter includes the summary, findings, conclusions, and recommendations of the study. Problem 1. What is the demographic profile of the respondents in terms of age, gender, and barangay? The researcher study concluded the following according to problems 1 to 4. There were more respondents in the ages of 31 to 40 in the reason of they are the one who took the responsibility to answer the survey questionnaires with the frequency of 79. Researchers recommended to expand and strengthen the quality of education of senior high school. There were more respondents came from the male with a frequency of 96 in the reason of they are the one who is responsible to take good care of their house. Researchers recommended provide aircon to make the classroom comfortable for the students. There were 30 or 16.67% according to the demographic profile of the respondents in terms of barangay because we reached the total number of respondents that we need in this study. Researchers recommended to add more classrooms to accommodate more students.
Problem 2. What is the perception to the community of the senior high school education standard of the respondents are grouped according to demographic profile, age, gender, and barangay? The perception of the community to the senior high school education standards according to the age of the respondents, the age range of 61 to 70 got the highest weighted mean, probably because they already know well the school of Santo Niño de Praga Academy. The researchers recommended to expand and repair the covered court of SNDPA-LPH. The perception of the community to the senior high school education standards according to the demographic profile of the respondents in terms of gender, both female and male got the same average weighted mean of 3.3 or very satisfactory. The researchers recommended to add more books to the library that can help with the students' needs. The perception of the community to the senior high school education standards according to the demographic profile of the respondents in terms of barangay. The barangay Hugo Perez got the highest average weighted mean of 3.54 or excellent. The reason that they are the community that has the most respondents who know the school well. The researchers recommended to add more computer to the computer laboratory for the students.
Problem 3. What is the perception of the community to the senior high school education standard of SNDPA group according to quality of education, academic facilities, and values? The perception of the community to the senior high school education standard according to the quality of education, the SNDPA-LPH educators use good strategy of teaching students in senior high school got the highest average weighted mean of 3.28 or excellent in this reason that our respondents know that the educators in the SNDP-LPH are good when it comes in teaching the student. The researchers recommended to more creative advertisement to promote and to create awareness for the school existence through posting in social media. The perception of the community to the senior high school education standard according to academic facilities, the schools, clinics is the same for the children who are sick got the highest average weighted mean of 3.34 or very satisfactory, probably because the respondents know that the school has a registered doctor and nurse. The researchers recommended to provide more activities to improve the skills and knowledge of the students. The perception of the community to the senior high school education standard according to values, the senior high school student who present the school with the prim and proper personality got the highest weighted mean of 3.53 or excellent, probably because the respondent know the Santo Niño de Praga Academy who implemented a good discipline to the students.
Problem 4. Overall perception of the community towards the senior high school education standards of SNDPA-LPH, quality of education, academic facilities, values. Highest average weighted mean for the overall perception of the community to the senior high school education standards of SNDPA-LPH came from values with a weighted of 3.34 or very satisfactory, probably because the respondents know the Santo Niño de Praga Academy as a disciplined school.
Survey questionnaire. The researchers provide self-made questionnaire that is related to its mediator, which are the quality of education, academic facilities, and values.